but definitely the path that they're going down currently, especially with the progression system, is a very, it's like a tightrope. You know, it's a very sketchy kind of path that they're going down. And I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know how they could even reverse this either. Because now everything's literally crons. And I know they got to make money, but they should just make more cooler cosmetics. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next few months, especially with the upcoming Heidel or Calfin Ball and kind of what they have planned. Welcome back, YouTube. So I want to take a look here at this Reddit post. I saw it on Reddit and I thought it was pretty interesting. And so I want to go through kind of each point and then go through some of the comments. But yeah, I mean, I feel like every few months there's always a post like this. However, I feel like this go around, it's a little bit more relevant because I feel like BDO here recently, like it's not dying per se, but it definitely feels like it's a little bit like more lonely. And there's not as many people like actively playing the game, right? Like if you look at the Steam chart numbers, I mean, obviously we've been declining. And, you know, the new expansion came out in August and you can see, boom, we had 27,000 peak players and then it's just been gradually declining. And I don't know. I just feel like these numbers aren't maybe the most accurate. Like I feel like there's a lot of AFK people playing while they're playing other games. So it's hard to tell like how many players are actually actively playing. Yeah, I still think we're in a better spot than what we were, like a year ago? Yeah, like look, 13,000. And I feel like we were even lower at some point. Like, I guess maybe 12. Oh, there we go. 10. Yeah, so compared to last year, we're still doing a little bit better. And I know when the next ball comes, of course, that's going to draw in more hype. I'm sure they're going to go over the new class. Was it Savior? And that's going to bump up the numbers. But I just feel like as of right now, like, I just feel like there's not as many active people playing the game. Like even like in my guild, like we used to do the Black Shrine Party bosses every week and we had no issue of getting, 5 people. But now it's like pulling hair to try to get a full group in our guild. And so now we have to getting other people to do it with us. And I think there's multiple reasons with that. People got the new gear. Obviously, it's time gated. So there's only but so much you can do. And I feel like with the new grinding, like with the Agris and the different AP caps, I feel like that's really changed how people do grind now. With Agris being efficient. And we'll talk a little bit about that because, yeah, this is the first part right here. But yeah, so let's go through this post. Well, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on what I think the current state of the game is. Disclaimer, it's completely subjective. Yeah, of course it's subjective. But I feel like most of his points or their points, I feel like hits pretty close to a lot of people. I see a few problems on the gameplay loop at the moment. So number 1, this is a pretty big one. AP caps. BDO, it's been always such a grind, but at least you were grinding to become more efficient at the spot and go around doing circles faster, which in return translated in more trash loot and more chance of getting rare drops. Nowadays, with the AP caps, that is not a thing anymore. And even if they were removed, 90% of the in-game spots are towers. So instead of respawning, limiting you, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're kind of limited on the respawn time of the mobs. The fix being expand your rotation or taking 2 rotations. Now there's no fix. Suck it up. Sure, they want to make sure people is where they should be, which I'm sorry, it makes no sense. Should be something that we can choose. Yeah. And when they, was it last year or whenever they talked about this in the previous ball about them changing this, that was my biggest fear of like, how would this feel? And I can see the pros and I can see the cons of this. With the AP caps, it kind of gives you a little bit more of a direction of like, okay, once I hit this certain spot, I'm going to be in maybe like these 5 to 10 grind spots. And then when I get more AP, then I'll be in the next tier of grind spots. And I get that. Kind of gives you some direction. But me personally, I just don't really like that. Like, I like how they made Agris efficient, and that's great. I feel like they maybe could have done that in a different but better way. But with the AP caps, so now, and it's, you know, some spots have already had AP caps on there. But what they really kind of messed up was they took away, or they capped or got rid of like the species damage. So as before, you could stack species damage and really be a lot more efficient on potentially getting more trash loot, right? And so they took away that, and that's what really kind of stung. But it just doesn't make sense, especially with BDO having a lot of sandbox elements, kind of giving that freedom, that progression to choose. Now you're not allowed that freedom. You're kind of locked into these certain spots. And with the AP caps, again, you're kind of secluded to the certain grind spots, and it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel all that great. And it just doesn't make sense, because when you have so you have a person who has like a total AP of 1500, right? And then you have another person who has a total AP of 900. It would make sense, like say you go to a grind spot that has, like, say the recommended total AP of 900, right? It would make sense that the 1500 AP person would pull more trash. But how it currently is now, essentially both people make the same amount of trash. So it really just limits that power aspect. And it also just, it kind of limits your ability to go explore and play those other grind spots. So yeah, that part of it kind of stinks. I mean, there's pros and cons. I'm kind of leaning to being a little bit more neutral now. Like at first I hated it. Now I'm kind of like, because I am making more silver than what I was before the change, but at the same time, I wish I could go back to other grind spots and still do them if I wanted to, and not feel like I'm being griefed. Party spots. Back in the day, you would have a choice when grinding a party. All right, you got Salsons, Pirates, Basquin's Den, Organ's Nest, Paddocks, Upper Gython, Turos, Schultz, Olins, Castle Ruins, Elvia, Imps. Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing some of them. Nowadays, they give you one option. Olins, D2. D1 is trolling yourself. They hit way too hard and they get barely any money. Nolan's, on the other hand, is only relevant if you wanted the merchant ring piece. Yeah, this part doesn't really make much sense to me on why don't they have more party spots? Like, why don't they just give us more of an option? I really don't understand. And they even took away they took away a duo grind spot a few months ago. Like, I feel like this would be such an easy fix. Like, I really hope, and I guess this is being optimistic, but I really hope that they talk about this and they do something about this, because I feel like it'd be such an easy fix where, like, you could maybe in the Elvia zones there are more party spots, or change it where, depending on how many players are in your party, the loot and everything gets adjusted, right? If there's only 2 people, then the loot is adjusted for 2 people. If there's 3 people, it's adjusted. 4 people, and so on, right? Up to 5 being the max. Like, if you want to play with your friends, you should have that opportunity to play with your friends. So I feel like this would be such an easy fix for them to do. And I really feel like if they could do this right, this could really bring a lot more people back into the game. progression system. You thought you could buy your gear off the market forever. Not anymore, baby. Yeah, so what was this, about a year ago when I made a video about this, how I didn't really care for the carousel accessories because essentially they're limiting your ability to buy in-game gear off the market, and they're forcing you to enhance the gear now. Now, granted, with the carousel accessories, sure, you can buy a pin debo and then exchange it for like a Nove carousel. I get that, and that's probably, it depends on the market. You'd have to look at the market, but that might be like the better route to go is to buy a pin debo and then exchange it. However, not many people want to try to save up over 200 billion to get that accessory. So yeah, I mean, and I guess you could buy a Tet debo and exchange that, but either way, they're now forcing you to pretty much enhance your own gear. And I feel like that was such a big pro for BDO back in the day, was like, hey, if you didn't want to deal with the enhancing system, you could literally just buy all of your gear off the marketplace. Like it was that easy. And like for me, that's what I did. Like I hated enhancing, and I still hate to enhance. I mean, I guess it's a little bit better now with the fail safes, but back in the day, like my RNG was so bad. Yeah, I just bought all my gear. I couldn't stand it. And now they're going into this path of where you, in order to like make kind of small incremental gains, you have to enhance it yourself. Again, unless you want to save up for however long and then try to get the gear that way. Buy crons, swipe to fasten your gains if you really want it, and even if then, enjoy the time-gated content like Adania armors, unless of course you choose a life skill, in which case, sure, buy all the deck accessories, enjoy spending trillions to get a diminished return, since mastery above 2k barely gives any return on investment. Yeah, that's true. Anything, and I think they increased it just to give more people like goals to work towards. But yeah, essentially once you get above 2k, like the returns is so minimal for how much money you have to put into it. Let's be serious. The game loop has become the most boring, unrewarded system we've ever had. At least a couple years ago, you would save 250 billion and buy a pin black star instead of spending them on crons. And if you're lucky, you spend hundreds of hours to just gain Agris essence. Wow. Yeah. I definitely can see this person's point of view. And I mean, you technically still can buy the gear off the market in a way. However, like with the new armors, like sure, you can buy the Tet piece and then exchange it for the new Adania armors, but now you're forced to enhance that yourself. Unless, I mean, I get, okay, unless you want to try to enhance it to a pin version, which is like what, isn't it like 0.06% chance of that thing ever going? So you're better off to get it to a Tet or buy a Tet and then exchange it and then enhance it yourself. But I guess you could try to enhance that thing to a pin and then exchange it. But yeah, 0.06% chance or whatever the chance is, it's super minimal. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Let's put it that way. Agris. This might be the most infuriating one yet. Now every spot consumes Agris. Pretty much you are wasting your time if you grind without it. Since the money an hour gets almost cut in half, so they incentivize that you save up your Agris, spend it all, and then AFK fish for that sweet billion per night. But hey, if you are the lucky one of the night, you might get an amazing fish and wet your pants because you made 5 bill overnight. It only took you 17 server swaps at a 5 minutes cooldown each to get that sweet spot, 130% base value. unless your character was tagged, in which case, oops, can't sell fish. Sorry, that's a rip. So yeah, speaking of Agris, I think so. Before, there was Agris efficient spots. Now every spot is efficient with Agris to an extent. Some spots will drain through all 20k within an hour. Other spots you might be consuming like 10 to 12k in an hour. But for the most part, after 1 hour, you are really griefing yourself. Whereas, so like for instance, say you would make 2 billion an hour with Agris. Once you don't have Agris, then you're really griefing yourself. So you only might make like 1.2 billion or something like that. So like, whereas before you could make 2 billion like every hour, right? Or maybe it's like 1.6 billion. So you could grind for multiple hours if you have the time and not really be griefing yourself. And so you could say that this is maybe a positive for your in real life. Like, hey, I do my 1 hour and then I'm just chilling. I'm going to go AFK fish or something like that. Whereas before, maybe you're like, gosh, I got to do 2-3 hours every day to try to catch up. But like, I know for me, like I've always done usually 1 hour every day. So like for me, this really didn't affect me all that much. But yeah, I feel like they could have worked this a little bit better. Life skills that were left for dead. Trading, that amazing life skill that you could enjoy back in the day, or well, even if you didn't, at least you could gain some knowledge or use the trade items to level up your strength and get some free weight. Barely any, but let's give them credit for it. Where is it now? Do boxes or get lost kid, but hey, you've got bartering now. Wait, 2 bill a day? Well, it's semi AFK, but fishing is fully AFK and it gives same or more money with less investment. That's true. Same with alchemy. Sure, you can only AFK, let's say 1 hour, 40 minutes, but again, gives you more money and allows you to AFK for longer. Bartering allows you to AFK for 10-minute tops, yet it barely gives any money. Even horse training is more profitable, but at least we're getting that new climbing life skill they promised us 3 or 4 years ago, right? Right? I don't even know. How could you make climbing even a life skill? Like what are you going to put like treasure or something like that on top of like a spot or something? And didn't they mention like climbing, wasn't it longer than 3 or 4 years ago? I feel like that was like 2019, 2018 or something like that. Anyway, yeah, trading, who knows what happened with that? Maybe they just forgot about it for over a year. I don't know. I didn't really do trading anyway, so I could care less about trading. It would be cool if they could rework it in a more unique way. I feel like there's a lot of good opportunities there. But at the same time, I feel like they should probably use their resources for other parts of the game. And bartering, I've never done bartering, but yeah, that seems about right. Semi-AFK, so 10 minutes, I guess. You can allow it to AFK and then you have to go back to it. Either way, the best life skill is going to be hands down AFK fishing. Like, it's completely AFK, and the amount of money that you can make is pretty crazy. And I think the Steam chart numbers, going back to this, is kind of flawed in a way because it's like we don't know how many people are actually actively playing the game and passively playing the game. And remember, these aren't the true representation of the actual game. Like, I don't play on Steam. I play on the main launcher. But it kind of gives you a good perspective of kind of where we're at in a way. So, but yeah, it's hard to tell like how many people are actively playing, how many people are passive playing. I feel like it seems like there's more people just AFK fishing. So I wonder if you took those people out, like what would the player base be? Who knows? Who knows? I could go on and on with more stuff, but I think I already made this long enough. I love this game. I love this game too. Been playing since 2016. I love getting to know many of the players that make this community great. So it sucks to see how many people on my friend list have a 400 400-day plus last connection next to their name. I should look through my friends list. I feel like the last time I looked, I think I had one person that was like over 1,000 days. It could be even more now. I love seeing this Reddit being alive with 40 plus posts a day and scrolling through them. I love starting a fight with someone over stupid in-game stuff, and it's scaling into a full-blown guild versus guild. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. That was the fun stuff. The open world guild versus guild. That was so much fun. So much fun. I can't believe that they took that out of the game and didn't bring it back into the game. That was so much fun. I miss that. 50 versus 50 masquerading each other, mirror mock, but what I loved the most was how this game made me feel like I could do anything and feel enjoy while processing or discovering a new community every time I would try a new life skill. I just wish the devs of this game would play their own game. This game was something really unique once. I really hope it gets to be amazing, enjoyable adventure that I once got to enjoy. Yeah. You know, games change. This game's been in service now for NA since 2016, and we've seen a lot of changes, a lot of good changes to the game. There's been some changes that are a head scratcher, but for the most part, there's been a lot of good changes, especially for newer players, but definitely the path that they're going down currently, especially with the progression system, is a very, it's like a tightrope. You know, it's a very sketchy kind of path that they're going down. And I don't know. And I don't know how they could even reverse this either. Because now everything's literally crons. And I know they got to make money, but they should just make more cooler cosmetics. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next few months, especially with the upcoming Heidel or Calfin Ball and kind of what they have planned. I mean, we know that they have plans, at least whether they say last year or the year before, like they have another 10-year plan for this game. And of course, it seems like a lot of their resources have been going to Crimson Desert. So that game, I think, is going to be releasing like the beginning of 2026. So maybe once that game releases, maybe they'll divert a little bit more attention to BDO again. Hard to tell. I think there's going to be like an online portion of Crimson Desert as well. So we'll have to see how that kind of is. But I haven't really been keeping up with too much information on that game. But I know, so like what, here recently, there's been quite a few games that have been coming out. Like you have Blue Protocol. I know I have quite a few guild mates that are playing that game right now. Another game just released. What is this game right here? The Sword Justice game, which, well, it doesn't really look good at all, but another upcoming game, Where the Wind Meets, that looks really interesting. It's not a fully blown MMO. It's kind of like a hybrid of like solo and MMO elements and a bunch of other different elements. They're going to have like raids and PvP. So that looks really interesting. We'll have to see how that game kind of turns out, because that could take a good portion of some of the community members from BDO, because the combat looks pretty good. I mean, it's not like BDO, but it is kind of similar. It's an action-based combat with parrying and whatnot. So, and I don't know if there's any, I feel like there's a few more games probably coming out as well. But there's been quite a few games that have been coming out, and I know that's been taking kind of the top priority for people of playing rather than playing BDO, which again, I think those people who aren't playing BDO like actively, they're just passively playing AFK fishing and playing other games. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like the upcoming game to watch out for is going to be Where the Wind Meets, and we'll have to see how that looks. And Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to release this video. I might release this video probably after where the wind meets, or maybe I'll try to release it before. Yeah, because I already have it. Anyway, just thinking out loud. Let's look at some of the comments. The gearing and AP caps really killed my fun. I don't feel powerful anymore. When you reach cap, you just move on to the next spot and start over again. It's not a good feeling when you finally get an upgrade that doesn't translate to more efficiency in a spot. And I totally agree. They just want you to swipe. There is no world where regular people can make meaningful progress in a reasonable amount of time. Small AP jumps can take months. And at that point, the average player will move on to a new game when they realize it feels like you're being punished for progressing. And the only way around is to swipe the card. And I don't know why people are still allowing them to sell that worst fishing rod. It's so scummy. Yeah, that is so scummy. And small AP jumps. It is kind of nice. So when you get, I think it's like whatever, 310 AP. When you do get like 1 AP gain, it gives you like +8. I believe it's +8 monster AP. So that is kind of nice. So the small AP gains actually feels a little bit more relevant now because you do get more monster AP. So it translates you becoming more powerful. However, yes, that limits your ability to go back to previous grind spots and to see, oh, can I pull like maybe an extra 500 trash now? No, because you can't. You can't. You can only move forward. If you try to go backwards, you're only griefing yourself. Whereas before, you could still make decent money. I mean, at the end of the day, you were always able to make more money for the most part at the higher grind spots, but you could at least make decent money at the other grind spots. Capped AP is like scaling all enemies in a game to your level. Unless the game is really tuned with that in mind, it feels bad and you never feel strong. I agree, everything that they have done in the last 18 months has been designed to squeeze more cash out of the addicted players. The game absolutely sucks right now. Get your crons, get your crons. It's so crazy too, like, because they give us so many free crons too. Like, I think this upcoming event or this current event that we have, or just even if I don't even think it's an event, you just like literally log in and they're giving you like 4,500 free crons. AP hard cap is really BS, and I completely agree with you. It makes my progression pointless in a MMORPG. Point of being strong in a MMORPG, in my opinion, is to improve gear and level up just so I can destroy the old monsters that are super difficult and tanky. It makes me feel powerful. Yeah, it just makes you feel good. Like you could one-shot the mobs. Nowadays, with the AP cap, I just feel no difference. When I improve my gear, like, what? I'm still the level 1 crook you say? The game went from being moderately fun, where you could do what you wanted and feel like you were at least slowly moving forward, be it by earning silver through life skills or grinding, to having gear targets that are pretty much unreachable for 90% of the population. It's not a game anymore. I'm amazed more people don't see it. Then again, I'm not actually, because people are addicted without realizing it. Yeah, they've invested so much time running in circles, grinding for silver, and pointless virtual treasure items that they've lost track of the reality. And the saddest thing is PA are exploiting the sweetness to its fullest, yet all these victims are happily throwing even more money and time at the company just so they could stay afloat. I went from logging in daily, doing all my dailies, guild quests, guild bosses, grinding, AFK fishing, and then I was logging in 5 times per week, then 3, and I barely bothered to log in that one day for guild bosses. Might have just leave the guild soon as it's all pointless, to be honest. Yeah. So, for me, I don't know. For me personally, it's almost like my meditation. Late at night, it's like my time to just kind of unwind. And I don't know why, but I'd rather grind 1 hour than sit on like social media and just scroll. Like for me, like I never get on any of the social media apps to begin with. But yeah, I think for me, like my escape or like my meditation is just to grind for 1 hour and just to kind of chill, maybe watch like a TV show while I grind. I definitely can't do more than 1 hour though, because then I start to fall asleep. But yeah, I think for me, it's just more of a way to just unwind at the end of the day. And maybe that's the addiction, right? That's my addiction, whereas other people's addiction is like scrolling through social media. I miss BDO every day, but I'm glad I finally clicked on uninstall and I've just stayed away. Just clicked to me one day. Why am I doing this? It doesn't respect our time, and the pay to win is actually worse now, sadly. I don't hate the game, but I hate the state of it. Yeah, I mean, I understand the whole pay to win aspect, but at the end of the day, like it is so pointless to throw that amount of money to this game because it's almost like meaningless in a way. Like the power upgrades, you're just doing the same thing. It's not like you're unlocking really like any new or specific content. I had 3K hours per year, active playtime, stopped a year ago, downloaded again, and still the same grindfest crap. Understand the chill, WoW, and Guild War players. Miss the node wars, the sieges, but let's be honest, reward for doing them is so little that many people lost interest in PvP because they rather grind 2 hours or 4 billion than making 500 in 2 hours. My dog is going crazy right now. What is she barking at? We knew it was going to happen when they did the PvP changes and removed Black Robe, a very loud minority of players echo chamber PA into thinking the game would do better if it was made a more single player experience, and now it's doing worse. But if they backtrack, they have to admit they were wrong, and they'll never do that. Boom. PA is so weird. And I don't know if like that's a culture thing, but for them to admit anything wrong is like, whew. You would think someone's dying or something. Like, just suck it up and be like, hey, we made this change and we've come to realize like it was not a good change. We shouldn't have done it, and we are sorry. And this is what we're going to do to be better. And yeah, who knows? I've watched names, I saw on server chats every single day for years disappear for weeks at a time because the state of the game is now single player with a chat sim. Sad thing is that PA and half the Redditors threw people who try to warn everybody under the bus. I literally had never been harassed or downvoted more in my life when I try to warn people or suggest other things in the form of stuff killing PvP. Not that I care, rather it was surprising. While a person can be silenced, the outcome is inevitable. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, and even for like a lot of my friends too, was like when they removed the like in-world guild versus guild battles, the GVGs, that's really where it started to go downhill. You're 100% right. The game is not in a good state. PvE isn't fun. There's no change. Grind mobs in a circle and you're forever hard capped there. Want to do anything else with your friends? This is a PvP game. Except that PvP is dead and you don't get anything worthy out of it. Life skilling update was a joke. PA can't give two flying beeps about it. Well, this person just likes that word, huh? Amazing how much they keep up. If their vision is to speedrun, shut down in 4 to 6 years, they're on the right track. Waste of a great combat system. What a shame. It's a very good combat system. I just feel like it's so easy. Like, and I think they even spoke about it like a year ago with the, like doing an endless type dungeon. That'd be so easy, you know? Like just drop in or go into this dungeon and you just like go through each like level. I don't know, maybe there's like 100 levels or something like that, or maybe like it's just endless type of thing, you know? Like that'd be such an easy PvE content that they could implement. You can either do it solo or you can do it like with the party. I really do think though, going back to the whole party thing, if they could add like more party spots and have it like scale to how many people is in your party, I really think that would help a lot with people like wanting to come back to the game. Couldn't agree more. I think you hit the nail on the head with your conclusion that the devs just don't play the game anymore. The sandbox element of just being able to grind where you feel like the day, group grind when you wanna and have friends or guildies available, shake things up with life skilling. etc., is what made the game great and unique. It certainly brought me in and kept me hooked. I'm not saying that's all gone. I don't think you are either, but it's decentralized significantly to the point that it's noticeable. I hope they get the message and turn things around for both the players and their bottom line, which would benefit from a larger, energized player base free to explore and enjoy the open world. Yeah, then a shrieking player base that are all forced to swipe or wait. And I think like the Black Shrine party bosses, like that's fun. Like if you haven't played that or tried that, you should definitely give it a shot. Like it takes maybe 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a little bit less, depending on like how geared your party is and if they know the mechanics, but it's fun. Like I really enjoy doing that at least once a week. And it's cool. And you get to hang out with your guild mates, and I think, you know, if they could somehow translate that to like group party spots, like that would be so cool. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the post. And I feel like this person really went through a lot of the main concerns that a lot of the current player base has. Maybe there's minus plus a few extra points, but for the most part, I feel like these really are kind of the important aspects, like the AP caps, definitely the party spots, the progression system, you know, having more viable, interesting life skills. Yeah, I feel like these are all big concerns, and I feel like they really need to be addressed in the next ball. They probably won't be, though, because it is typical PA. I don't know. But yeah. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments of like what you think of the current state of the game. Are you playing at this moment? Are you just AFK fishing? Are you just doing 1 hour a day and then chilling after that? Are you looking forward to any upcoming games? Like for me, I know I'm going to be trying out Where the Wind Meets here. Today's Sunday, so I believe the game comes out on Friday, the 14th. Again, I don't know when I'm going to release this video, so yeah. But I'm going to give that game a shot and play it, and I'm probably going to do a video on that game and just kind of let you know my thoughts on it. It's the thing with that game, though, is it's a hybrid, so it's not like a full MMO game. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But I'm going to continue to play BDO. I'm going to still make videos on BDO. I do have a video that I already finished with playing BDO on the Steam Deck. So subscribed. Stay tuned for that. It's really cool. Really cool. I didn't know you could play BDO on Steam Deck. So I'm going to be playing that. Or I'm going to be showing you how you can play that on the Steam Deck. But yeah. As always, I hope you have a great upcoming week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Sunsets on black desert sky. It's just you and I.